Yeah. Okay. I don't care. Hey! We're live. Let's share it to the places. Yeah, you and I aren't going to record tomorrow? No, I'm good. Why is it... Hold on. Why has it got me frickin' weird? Okay. Not that I've been watching. I've been too busy. I figured, I mean, it's going to start before we get through our, what have you been up to? What have I been up to? So we might not even talk about that until sometime. So it was pretty fast and loose with the notes. This is a different kind of show. Okay, I have to check something on our channel. Where's Geek Grills? Am I live yet? Because I've got the YouTube channel where it's going to play that you sent me is playing in my ear already. I theoretically have it turned down so it's not feeding into the stream yet, and I'll have to turn it up when we want it going there. It's not what I'm seeing. The PBS NewsHour coverage of some sort. This is the YouTube link you gave me. Great. Well, that's not what's in our feed. So. That makes sense. Let me...
Lobby doors.
God damn it. Come on, come on, come on. Yep. Alright, let me try to fix the link I have here. Yeah, and he's bullied because his name is Trump. So again, it's just it's all about him, right? It's kind of oh poor me instead of somebody actually, I don't know. It's kind of stupid. What the hell? All right, let me. Okay, this is the right footage. I know. Doesn't matter what you're saying. Matters what I'm trying to get our streamers. Okay. Yeah, it's showing now. So. Alright, let me turn the audio back on for our listeners. Not that it's very exciting.
No, it's just no sound whatsoever right now.
Okay. Well, that's good. Because we're talking. I guess let's get this show on the road.
All right. So I'll let you start because this is your show.
It is. Thank you. Hello and welcome to episode 123 of Geek Grills. The Geek Grills podcast is supported primarily by our patrons. Please go to patreon.com/grills and support us today. I am 9 of 12 and I am joined by, well, I will be joined by my co-host, TheJen, in a little bit. She's on her way home from work. And right now, I am joined by the Reverend Barney, who you may or may not know is on a little show called Heresy and Hearsay with me. So this will actually serve as both podcasts this week, and we're going to do live coverage of the State of the Union. If you're watching live, you see I've got my MST3K bots prepared for heckling. I have a whole list of nicknames for 45. Sorry, but I don't use his name, so that's what I'm doing. This is way more political than we ever get on Grills, but it's what Heresy and Hearsay is always about. So we're not going to be pulling punches. Go ahead and send your hate mail and troll all you want, and we'll feed you tonight, because why not? What the hell? It's got to be done. So... So why don't you tell folks a little about yourself? Hold on. I killed your video, or your audio. Hold on. Sorry, go back and introduce yourself again, and I'll edit that later.
Okay. So I'm Reverend Barney, and you can find me on Twitter at SethRothII. That's I'm a huge Final Fantasy fan, but it also has a religious connotation as well. You can also find myself and Ember on our podcast at Heresy and Hearsay, where we're reclaiming faith through political discourse. And you can find us on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, iTunes. We have a Patreon as well for Heresy and Hearsay, and at heresyandhearsay.com.
I want to apologize to all of our live viewers. There's going to be a little tech difficulty here and there. Barney is in a hotel room, and all listeners know how that Wi-Fi could be, and he's using his phone, but we're still having some video issues. And hey, I see TheJen. Yay!
Near, sort of.
Sort of.
I just lost all of it.
Yeah, I don't know where your video went, Barney.
All right. Am I back?
Not quite yet.
Well, you can still hear me, so that's the important thing right now.
Yes, I can hear you.
So.
I'll move the name tags around because Jen's in your spot and you're in her spot. And you can hear the crowd. Woo, the excitement. So my son today, I picked him up from school, and he's like, "How was your day?" I said, "Oh, it was okay. How was yours?" He said, "I learned about the designated survivor."
Are you talking about the person that has to stay behind
Yep.
during any political event where they basically draw straws?
Yeah.
Well, it's not quite like that, but basically it's because of the 25th, right?
Because somebody can't go in case somebody, well, my husband put it, in case the Joker shows up and blows it all to hell.
Yeah, so according to the 25th Amendment, there's the sequence of who would take over in the case of the resignation, removal, or death of the president. And there's a really long list of everybody in that order, and so one person stays away from the event so that if in the event something did happen to the event, we have.
Yep. I wonder who that is tonight. Do either of you
It's
know?
always like the secretary of something you didn't know had a secretary. I hate to say it, but it's kind of like
Or you didn't
you
know
don't
they were in
matter
line
most
of
of the
succession,
time.
at least,
So
right?
you get
I mean, didn't they do a TV show about that starring Kiefer Sutherland? Yeah, Kiefer Sullivan
I feel like
called called Designated Survivor because
I think
basically
you might be right.
because I think like there was some terrorist attack that happened and wiped during the State of the Union that or something to that effect, and he was like the only one, so he became president, and that's what that show is about for like 2 seasons.
You are 100% correct. As a lower level cabinet member, Tom Kirkman never imagined something would happen. Oh, look at that hilarity ensued. I mean,
Well, yeah, let's hope we never have to see that actually play out.
but yeah, it's usually some lower level cabinet member typically.
So, everybody, that's the Jen. What, and Jen, this is going to be the Heresy and Hearsay episode this week as well. So why don't you go ahead and give an introduce to the folks that listen to that show, and not necessarily the Grills yet, and let them know who you are.
Yeah, I'm TheJen. I normally stream. These days I have not been stream capable, but soon. But I have been doing the Geek Grills podcast with Ember, and we've been doing it for many, many years now. No,
Yeah,
a
right?
couple years now. Yeah, it's been an adventure. I still can't believe we've been doing as long as we have been. We're like 120 something episodes now. It's crazy. But yeah, I'm Jen. I play video games. I'm a nerd. I like politics. I actually have a degree in politics, unfortunately. Um,
Unfortunately, come on.
I mean, no.
I mean,
Yeah,
I sort of kind of do.
right. So I'm a Blizzard fangirl, Marvel fangirl, and part of the reason why Ember and I became friends.
Yeah, playing games.
All
So
the
what have
games.
you been up to this week, Barney?
This week I've been playing Hearthstone. My favorite deck right now is a hunter's deck called I Hunt Alone. I absolutely love that build because that means I don't have to worry about creatures. I just create creatures out of thin air. It's great. I and that deck wins more times than it loses. I I am also a fan of mage decks. Right now I have a elemental deck with um, I'm sorry, it's playing right now in my ear. I apologize. And so with Jaina being the Frost Queen, so that's one of Jaina is my favorite character. So I always spend more time building up those mage decks than anything else. But that my I Hunt Alone deck is a really great deck.
Cool.
As a side note, I'm gonna beep 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 beep. Apparently, Trump's situation of having multiple secretaries actually complicated the designated survivor designation for this event. So literally 2 minutes ago, they announced that it was actually Energy Secretary and former Texas Governor Rick Perry.
Oh my God.
So there you go.
Which just brought to mind.
The chair appoints
Jen,
as members
I
of the
didn't send you the
committee
link we're
on the
using
part
to
of the
watch. It's
House
the YouTube
to
PBS
escort
News
the
Hour.
President of the
Yeah, I was gonna
United
say
States
I'm currently, I
into the
think,
chamber.
on the CBS
The
News, but
gentleman
I
from
would
Maryland,
let me get to the
Mr.
PDF.
Hoyer. The gentleman from South
I will
Carolina,
put the link
Mr.
in the
Clyburn.
Discord.
The gentleman from New Mexico,
There you
Mr.
go.
Lujan. The gentleman from
Yep,
New York,
there it is.
Mr. Jeffries. The gentlewoman from Massachusetts, Ms. Clark.
Did you
The
guys talk
gentlewoman
about
from Illinois, Ms.
the
Bustos. The
re-invitation?
gentlewoman from California, Miss
We
Hill.
have not. We haven't really talked about anything yet because we.
The
it took us
gentleman
longer
from
to get on than we
California,
wanted.
Mr. McCarthy.
Because we're just
The
now
gentleman
starting.
from
Yeah,
Louisiana,
basically.
Mr. Scalise.
Yeah, we're just now starting. Yeah,
gentlewoman
I'm
from
in a hotel
Wyoming,
room,
Miss
so
Cheney.
like I'm using
gentleman
cell
from
service right
Minnesota,
now,
Mr.
so
Emmer.
I'm
The
using
gentleman
my
from
data.
Alabama,
But
Mr.
I
Palmer.
mentioned a little bit
The
on
gentleman
heresy
from
last
North
week because it's
Carolina,
so
Mr.
like
Walker.
treating him
gentleman
like
from
the child he
Missouri,
behaves like.
Mr.
I
Smith.
mean, I feel like I feel like
Well, part of it is
Pelosi
like
really
it's
did a
a
good job keeping him
security
in check.
concern.
The
I do
President
think the security
of the Senate,
concern
at
is
the direction of
worthwhile
that
reason
body,
to make
appoints
a
the following
change. And
senators as
I
members
know,
of
of
the
course,
committee
everybody's like,
on the
"Oh, this
part
is
of
a
the Senate to
political
escort
play,"
the
and I'm like,
President of the
"Or
United
it's a
States
play to make
into the
sure
House
that
chamber.
nothing
The
terrible
senator from
happens."
Kentucky,
How about
Mr.
that?
McConnell.
Yeah,
That's also
or
a
Senator
we
thing.
from
behave
South
like grown-ups
Dakota,
and we do
Mr.
this thing
Thune.
the way it's supposed to be done.
The senator
And
from Iowa, Mr.
this
Grassley.
is actually
The
technically,
senator from
I invite
Wyoming,
you to come do
Mr.
this,
Barrasso.
asshole. You don't
The senator
just
from
go.
Missouri, Mr.
Yeah.
Blunt.
Yes,
Senator
because the
from
three
Iowa,
branches are actually
Ms.
separate,
Ernest.
and this is basically the
Senator
big
from
deal.
Indiana,
Is
Mr.
it's
Young.
the time when
The
the
senator from
executive
New York,
branch
Mr.
is
Schumer.
invited to
The
leave
senator
the
from
West Wing of the
Illinois,
White House
Mr.
and head
Durbin.
down to the
The
Capitol,
senator from
and
Washington,
it's one of those
Mrs.
times.
Murray.
Did they do
Senator
it
from
processional? Did I
Michigan,
miss it?
Ms.
Where they all
Stabenow.
start walking in and
The
everybody like
senator from Massachusetts,
waves, and it's the
Ms.
guys walking
Warren.
into the. Oh,
The
I think
senator
they're doing
from
some of that now.
Minnesota, Ms.
Well, Pence is standing there doing
Klobuchar,
roll
and the
call.
senator
They're
from
showing
Wisconsin, Ms. Baldwin.
our socialist heroine.
Oh, here's the president.
Oh, there's our president. Ugh. Sorry, those
Okay.
words are rough.
Members of the escort committee
Makes me
will
kind of
exit
throw
through
up
the
in my mouth a little.
lobby doors.
So, what are some of the names you have picked out for the Phantom Menace tonight?
Oh well. I saved the whole list from my buddy Greg Proops because I just love his take on this whole thing. I haven't listened to his show in a while, but I got a list. You want to hear the whole list?
Well, as he
Pepper 'em
speaks,
throughout. Although Rob had a good one because we put that MST3K thing in the stream, and so he is like, "Well, you have to use like Bigley McLar, what is it? Bigley McLies Huge." Which is a callback to an old original MST3K episode where there's Big McLarge Huge and Chunk McBeefsteak, where they all riff over the guy as he shows up in this movie, Space Mutiny.
I would like to note that I am very glad that we have now much more multiple options for streaming the address. As a person who has not had like standard television for a while now, it's been really frustrating to not be able to access things like this. So I'm glad it was so easy.
I remember, I think it was in the 2016 election that they did all of the debates on, or was it 2012? One of the two, they did all of the debates on like Xbox Live, where you could watch them on Xbox Live as well. So for a while, I've been like Jen, where I just watch either on my phone or, you know, with my computer or whatever, anything that I want to watch. So I'm glad that they have this as well, to where you can watch it multiple ways.
Well, I've always been a fan of watching on like C-SPAN, so that I don't have.
Yeah.
Ironically, because here we are doing commentary, but I don't have the commentary of just talking heads. So there's not an agenda. And if I don't catch this kind of, you know, a lot of speeches, I just skip and then I read the transcript because it feels like an objective way to look at it.
Yeah, I agree. I really enjoyed Barack Obama as a speaker, so any opportunity I had to listen to him speak live and watch it, it was really worthwhile to me. So it was frustrating when I didn't always get to watch those. I really, really enjoy watching him speak. And we haven't
Yeah.
had a lot of presidents in the last 20 years or so that have that kind of a command, that
Oh, he
just,
was
it's
so
something you
eloquent.
can't really have, or you can't teach that. Like, that's just something people have or they don't.
Well, it's like, and I know he's problematic in this day and age, but Bill Clinton could give a speech.
Yes, yeah, yeah, it's the one that comes to mind aside from that, but it is a little bit, yeah.
Yeah. I fortunately got to see Barack Obama several times, so that was quite a thing.
Well, I saw him speak when he was a senator, and I lived in Illinois, and he spoke at one of the universities, and he told us not to get up to any shenanigans, and go make sure we go to class. Um, that was a, that was the first time I had really seen him, and I don't know, I never would have thought that he'd become president, but it makes sense. And then I actually walked several miles the day before election day when Obama got elected in Manassas, Virginia, to hear him speak or see him speak there live the night before the election.
Yeah, I started following him earlier on. I have some really good fancy transcripts I was given as a delegate. That was kind of neat. Of course, there's live things. Although one of the closest ever was, well, other than the 2012 delegate space, because North Carolina we got right up front because it was here. Um, I was handling I was working to organize the volunteers at like Hickory High School. And so after we got all the volunteers set up, I went ahead and got in the media area. Well, I didn't get to shake his hand, and my son still makes fun of me because my son did. Because he brought in later by a teacher because I couldn't pick him up from school. And they got sat right in the front row to like fill in space behind the candidate at that point, who was really, really late, and it was hot, and it took forever to get there. It was the same day he had to disavow his pastor.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so it was really hard because for folks that haven't gone to these small political venues, small venues where it's a political event like schools, for security reasons they have to shut down the AC. And so when it takes a few extra hours for the candidate to show up, it's quite unpleasant. So what else? What have I been up to? Boring stuff, doing my taxes. I broke Kingdom Hearts 3. All the audio, but the music quit working.
He was leading off with jobs. I'm actually a little bit surprised that's the first thing he talked.
And he's also sniffling like he's just. He's also He's also sniffling like he was at the debate.
I gotta say,
He actually looks nice tonight. I'm actually kind of impressed.
I really think he has switched to a proper spray tan. That or somebody finally changed the
And his hair looks
bulbs
better.
in his booth.
Well, I think what they're doing is they're actually doing the spray tan so that the eyes, it's always been those eyes. So I think he was getting real tans. I think, tanning booth and stuff, but you put those little goggles to protect your eyes. So.
Well, good for the makeup person.
By the way, did we talk about the women wearing white tonight for the message? I don't know if they just showed that on screen, so I just want to make sure to mention. So this is so there's dozens of women in Congress are using fashion basically as a tool to send a message and stand out to show solidarity, and it's actually kind of cool.
Excellent.
Crusade, the Allied liberation of Europe in World War II. On D-Day, June 6, 1944, 15,000 young American men jumped from the sky, and 60,000 more stormed in from the sea to save our civilization from tyranny. Here with us tonight are three of those incredible heroes. Private First Class Joseph Riley, Staff Sergeant Irving Locker, and Sergeant Herman Zaitchek.
Oh my gosh, these guys are very, very, very.
You know what? I'm
You
glad.
have to make him stand, poor guy. I mean,
Why are you making the old man stand?
like he was waving, just waving. I just want to circle back to the women wearing white. That's a suffragette thing, by the way. Just historically, and it's about women and families, and it's the House Dem Women. If you ever want to follow them on Twitter, it's House Dem Women, and I really encourage you to do that. They've been up to some interesting things.
Gentlemen, in
And I salute you.
2019, we also celebrate 50 years. In 2019, brave young pilots. We also celebrate 50 years since brave young pilots through space.
Can you see me, guys?
A million miles on the face through space to plant the American flag. Half a century on the face of the moon. We are joined by one of the Apollo.
It just got quiet, and I can't hear anything right now on my feed. It's wonderful.
Astronaut Buzz planted that flag. Buzz Aldrin.
I really think that his hair looks the best it's looked in a long time, and I know it's silly, but that's
I keep streaming
I
out.
can hear both of you though.
I can hear you too as well, so that's a plus.
Barney, you're really loud interference.
Thank you, Buzz.
I'll talk
This year,
softer.
American astronauts will go back to space. This year, American astronauts will go back to space on American rockets.
I mean, we were supposed to do it in 2006, so why not?
Didn't he cut funding for NASA?
Yeah, no, well, to be fair, the biggest cut, well, I'm not going to. Gore didn't help us with that.
No.
Redefine the middle class. Transform science. And redefine the middle class. When you get down to it, there's nothing anywhere in the world. When you get down to it, that can compete. There's nothing with America. Anywhere in the world that can compete with America.
Germany, Finland,
So
Sweden.
can we not redefine the middle class? Can we just not have a classless system? Or we just don't have classes? Like, I'd prefer that, personally.
You know, I would too. As a socialist, I completely agree with that.
I just feel like
boldly and bravely into the next chapter of this great American adventure. And we must create a new standard of living for the 21st century. An amazing quality of life for all of our citizens is within reach. We can make our community safer, our families stronger, our culture richer, our faith deeper, and our middle class bigger and more prosperous than ever before.
Oh,
So-
like the opposite of the tech shit I'm dealing with now while I'm in my life. Anyone else I know in the middle class? I'm taking a really big hit right now.
hey, I don't own a house, I'm not married, and I have no kids. And I'm on a commission-based salary. Yeah. Taxes are awesome.
But we must
I pay a lot of
reject
them, but I would like them to go to
Politics
things
of
that I care.
revenge, resistance, and
Like healthcare, free college.
Embrace
Healthcare
the
and education would be nice. I have a mortgage in the form of a student loan bill.
and the common good.
Yeah, so do I. Oh, there's a
Damn, look at that face.
Wow, that's like a sea of white.
No, it's really awesome. So the idea is that it's almost 100 years since women got the right to vote, and so there's
Together we can
approximately
break
100 women serving in
decades
Congress.
of political
So
stalemate.
it's kind of a cool.
We can bridge all divisions heal old wounds, build new coalitions, forge new solutions, and unlock the extraordinary promise of America's
Has he
future.
said anything of
The
substance?
decision is ours to make.
America
We must
is a
choose
great
between greatness or
nation. We
gridlock,
should be a great
results or
nation. We should continue to
resistance,
be a great nation.
vision or vengeance,
We're America. The United
incredible
States is the country
progress
we live
or
in.
pointless
Uh,
destruction.
America.
Is he getting
I
lost
ask
in the script, or
you
they
to
purposely write
choose
it in his
greatness.
style of repeating half sentences over and over in the same ones?
I do like
So
that
that
we're
it
going to
wouldn't
talk about
seem like
unity.
he, had no idea.
Well, he led off with, like, this isn't a Republican, this isn't a Democratic agenda, this is the American agenda, unity, blah, 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 blah.
Over the last 2 years, my administration has moved with urgency and
I'm glad
historic
she's not
speed
leaning
to
down. She
confront
was leaning down
problems
awkwardly
neglected by
before. It's kind of
leaders of both
distracting.
parties over many decades. In just over 2 years since the election, we have launched an unprecedented economic boom, a boom that has rarely been seen before. There's been nothing like
Okay.
it. We have
I'm sorry,
created
what?
5.3 million new jobs, and importantly added 600,000 new manufacturing jobs, something which almost
That is
everyone
actually
said
true,
was
but that's because
impossible
we're
to
moving
do.
it back from other countries
But
back
the
to
fact
here
is, we are just
because they're no
getting
longer as low labor
started.
costs anymore. I literally wrote a paper about this last night.
Well, and those jobs are not providing the kind of pay and benefits that they used to back in the day. It's not exactly a return to that kind of upward mobility that it used to be to
Wages are
bring
rising at the
manufacturing here.
fastest pace in decades.
Well, no, it's going to
And growing
reinforce the
for
blue collar worker
blue-collar
again.
workers.
Oh
who
my
are
God!
promised to
What just
fight for.
happened?
They're growing faster than anyone else
That was really
thought
unsettling.
possible. Nearly 5 million Americans have been lifted off food stamps.
Because you
Lifted off.
Because
even-
we don't want to give them benefits because we can't afford it. They've been lifted off in
into oblivion is what. Yeah, they're now starving. Thanks. Yeah.
The U.S. economy is growing almost twice as fast today as when I took office. And we are considered far and away the hottest economy anywhere in the world. Not even
yeah,
close.
hot like terrifying. Stay away from it because nobody knows where it's headed right now. Like that? Is that what you mean?
Has reached the lowest rate in over half a
That's
century.
because their benefits have run out, and therefore they can't file anymore and fall off.
Right. I'm so lucky to have a job with benefits. I am so grateful every day.
African
I
American,
had to get a job with
Hispanic
benefits because I didn't have one,
and
and
Asian
I
American
suffered for
unemployment have
3
all
years
reached their
untreated with a lot of
lowest
stuff.
levels ever recorded.
Because their benefits have run out. And they don't count those that drop off.
Yeah.
Unemployment for
I know
Americans with
Barney was just saying that,
disabilities
but just to
has
reiterate,
also
that's
reached an all-time low.
Veterans with disabilities are at all-time low as far as benefits. That's because you cut them out too. Oh, I feel the anger raging.
Are working now than at any time in the history of our country. 157
how hard is it to
million
sit
people
behind that
at work.
man and just like
Well,
Right?
if it's
not,
Pence,
no, and not make faces
We
when
passed
he's
a
like, it's at
massive
an
tax
all-time
cut
low, and she's
for
just
working
like,
families
imagine, like,
and doubled the
you just like do a
child
mantra,
tax
like
credit.
water off a duck's back, like what is
There's
this?
so much more working because people have to have 3 and 4 jobs to survive. Like, that's a part of those numbers that like is a big
We
goddamn
virtually
deal. I
ended the
know
estate
people who are
tax
like
or death tax,
have degrees and they're
as
working,
it is often
you know,
called,
in
on
retail
small
and
businesses,
fast food and whatever
for
the hell.
ranches, and also
Yeah, my
for
husband's like,
family
how's Nancy gonna
farms.
sit there and not just flip the
explode.
bird the whole time?
We eliminated the very unpopular Obamacare individual mandate
And
penalty.
that's why Obamacare can no longer be afforded by poor people because of the mandate is gone, which is absolutely.
And to give critically ill patients access to life-saving cures, we passed,
And my
very
premiums
importantly,
in my
right to try.
employer insurance that we do have in my family, we're going down. And now they're going up again.
That's because without the mandate, healthy people don't get on health
in
care.
a short period of time than any other administration during its entire tenure.
Oh, where's the fact check on that one? He constantly, it makes me a little,
Companies are
well, more
coming
than a little
back
crazy
to our country
that our
in
Oompa
large
Loompa
numbers,
oligarch
thanks to our
uses
historic
so much
reductions in
hyperbole.
taxes and regulations.
By the way, for those of you that are watching and like to kind of know what's being
And we
talked
have
about and catch it
unleashed
and
a
have links that
revolution
go up pretty
in
quickly, I
American
recommend
energy.
Politico for any
The
live
United States is
events.
now
When I didn't
the
have video,
number
that's what I
one
used to do,
producer
and
of
they're still
oil
doing a great
and
job on
natural
there.
gas anywhere
They do
in
a
the
complete
world.
transcript as it happens and also provide links.
And I think they also do fact checking,
Yes,
live
live
fact.
fact checking, exactly. And it says that give critically ill patients access to life-saving cures. They pass a very importantly right to try.
And now,
And
for
then
the first time
Sarah
in
Overmole says
65 years,
that we know of, only
we
2
are
patients
a
have used the
net
right to try pathway
exporter
passed in
of
March
energy.
to gain access to experimental medicines. So 2 people.
2! Wow.
2.
After 24
Highly
months
effective.
of rapid progress, our economy is the envy of the world. Our military is the most powerful on earth.
That's
by
because most of
far.
my taxes go to the
I was
military,
going to say, so that's where all of my money goes. Now, to be fair, I am not opposed to that. I like security.
I like security, but there's a better way to do it, and it's not a wall.
That's true.
I know that's coming up.
America is again winning each and every
Did he
day.
just say
Did he
that?
just hashtag winning us right now in the State of the Union? That really just happened?
Members
yeah.
of Congress, the state of our union is strong.
So, what channel
Bigly.
It's
bigly.
what channel is that monetizing going on?
It's going on Trump's channel.
Did you hear about that, Jen? You can donate to the Trump campaign and they'll scroll your name during the address. He monetized it.
That
And it was
sounds
like
so good.
$35 and then it was $5 and then it was a bargain at
Our
$1.
country is vibrant and our economy is thriving like never before. On Friday, it was announced that we
Or
added
like
another
it did before we had a
304,000
mortgage
jobs last
crisis.
month alone.
Yeah,
Almost double
Followed by
the
a
number
recession.
expected.
and we're still look. It takes 2 to 4 years for the stuff that a previous administration does for it to go into effect. So we're still reaping the benefits of the Obama thing. When those
An
tax
economic
cuts start
miracle is
hitting,
taking place in
or
the
those
United
tax
States, and the
raising
only thing
starts
that
hitting,
can
then we'll
stop
start
it
seeing the economy
are
crash
foolish
again.
wars, politics,
Well, especially with the
or
state of the stock market
ridiculous
right now.
partisan
Scary.
investigations.
We're back into a boom bust thing that we were before the 20s and and beyond. From 1950 to when Reagan took office was the best
If there is
because
going to
we
be
had
peace
such
and
strong laws
legislation,
against the stock
there
market.
cannot be war and investigation. It just doesn't work that way.
Yeah, well, also, just breaking
don't
the
look.
law is
Be
not a
united
good
at home
idea, and
to
it
defeat
needs to be
our
dealt with.
adversaries
Oh
abroad.
my God. Don't
This new
investigate.
era
That's just gross.
of cooperation can start with finally confirming the more than 300 highly qualified nominees who are still stuck in the Senate In some cases, years and years waiting. Not
Then
right.
give me Merrick Garland, and then I'm cool with whatever the hell you want to do.
How many of Obama sat in limbo? Not just, I'm talking the lower court.
Oh, yeah.
The Senate has failed to act on these nominations, which is unfair to the nominees and very unfair to our country.
I agree. Can you
Now
go
is the
back
time
and
for
let's just push through the
bipartisan
Merrick Garland
action.
one? I'm good.
Believe it or not,
I'm sorry, is that a
we
problem?
have already proven
Yeah, because the guy
that's
that they got on
possible.
there, Jesus
In the
Christ,
last
that's a
Congress,
whole nother.
both parties came together to pass unprecedented legislation to confront the opioid crisis, a sweeping new farm bill, historic VA reforms, and after 4 decades of rejection, we passed VA accountability so that we can finally terminate those who mistreat our wonderful veterans.
Now, didn't it also
That
basically,
legislation was already in the works. Like,
and didn't it also push towards privatizing the VA?
Well, half of what
And just
happened
weeks ago,
with the job
both
creation
parties
started
united
under Obama, because when Obama took
for
office, it was
groundbreaking
during a
criminal
recession.
justice
So that work started
reform.
then.
They
It's
said
just
it
like when
couldn't be
everybody
done.
was like, oh, Bill Clinton was responsible for the surplus. Technically, he really wasn't. He just happened to be in office when it happened. But a lot of that was from the work done beforehand.
oh, he cut so many programs. I was like really I was
Last
subject to Clinton
year,
cuts. I had to
I
quit
heard
school.
through friends
Well,
the
we all know
story
I
of
have wonderful
Alice
feelings about the Clintons.
Johnson. I was deeply moved. In 1997, Alice was sentenced to life in prison as a first-time nonviolent drug offender. Over the next 22 years,
Are we
she
really
became
parading this
a
out there? Is
prison
this like a...
minister, inspiring others to choose a better path. She had a big impact on that prison population and far beyond. Alice's story underscores the disparities and unfairness that can exist in criminal sentencing and the need to remedy this total injustice. She served almost that
I mean, I
22
think this is
years
impressive. That makes me very happy.
and had
But
I'm really
expected to
surprised.
be
This
in
is not
prison
their party
for the
line.
remainder of her life.
it's good.
In
He granted her
June,
clemency, huh?
I commuted Alice's sentence. When I saw Alice's beautiful family greet her at the prison gates, hugging and kissing and crying and laughing, I knew I did something right. Alice is with us tonight, and she
Oh.
is a terrific woman.
The friend that
Terrific.
reached out was
Alice,
Kanye and
please.
Kim Kardashian West.
Right.
So
I remember hearing
when
about
you're friends with the Kardashians, then what have I been saying? Celebritas, man. It's a form of cap.
That's just insane.
I
like that's not reform.
I still think it's glad
One
that he
commuted
said it,
though.
though.
Because the Kardashians asked you to is not, and
Alice,
crazy
thank you
Kanye is
for
not reform.
reminding us that we always have the power to shape our own destiny. Thank
And
you
here's
very
the thing:
much.
it's also good PR because she's a person of color.
Oh yeah.
Right. Now, at the same time, I do think that that is
Inspired by
a
stories
good
like
image and a
Alice's,
powerful message, and
my
I can
administration
appreciate that
worked
portion for
closely
what it is,
with
but you
members of
can't
both
treat that
parties
as
to
an
sign
effort
the
to deal with
First
a very,
Step
very problematic
Act
situation.
into law.
That is
Exactly.
way, way bigger.
I mean, think about all of
Like
the
if there was
men.
any policy being enacted, that would be one thing. Not
This legislation reformed sentencing laws
commuting
that
one
have
sentence for a
wrongly
publicity
and
stunt. But now let him
disproportionately
make some promises and
harmed
keep
the
them.
African American community. The First Step
Yeah.
Act gives nonviolent offenders the chance to re-enter society as productive, law-abiding citizens. Now, states across the country are following our lead. America is a nation that believes in redemption. We are also joined tonight by Matthew Charles from Tennessee. In 1996, at the age of 30, Matthew was sentenced to 35 years for selling drugs and related offenses. Over the next 2 decades, he completed more than 30 Bible studies, became a law clerk, and mentored many of his fellow inmates. Now Matthew is the very first person to be released from prison under the first
So what is the
step.
first step back? I'm not aware of
So
it.
the idea is that if it's a first-time offense, and I think it has to do with like nonviolence, then you have an opportunity to not go into prison, but to go through some kind of a more probationary situation. And I think what they're saying is that he should have been under that act. But that's what I'm saying. Is this like going
Thank you,
forward?
Matthew. Welcome home.
One can hope, because I mean,
Well, yeah, I mean, I come from California, where the three strikes law is one of the most horrific things that could ever. It was
Republicans
horrendous, and they're
must
finally
join
letting
forces
people
again
out now that marijuana is
to
legal.
confront an urgent
To people that
national
went there for
crisis.
marijuana to
Congress
like
has
get taken
10
care of
days
and get
left
released over
to
time.
pass a bill that will fund our government, protect our homeland,
here we
and
go.
secure our very dangerous southern border. Now is the time for Congress to show the world that America is committed to ending
Wasn't your
illegal
wife an
immigration
immigrant?
and putting the ruthless coyotes, cartels, drug dealers.
So should I
worked-
be personally feel like that's for my
out
protection,
of
considering I live in
business.
Tucson? Is that for me?
I wonder what horror stories he's going to trudge up about illegal immigrants.
As we speak,
Oh, jeez.
large organized caravans are on the march to the United States. We have just heard that Mexican cities, in order to remove the illegal immigrants from their communities, are getting trucks and buses to bring them up to our
Look at that
country
head shake.
in areas where there is little border protection. I have ordered another
Jesus Christ.
3,750 troops to our southern border to prepare
And you know
for
what? They're still
this
separating families at the
tremendous
border.
onslaught.
Yeah.
This is a moral issue. The lawless state of our southern border
They're coming
is
for
a
asylum,
threat
which
to
is
the
legal
safety,
under the
security,
law,
and financial
and you are
well-being
denying that,
of all America.
both international and.
We have a moral duty
Yeah,
to
Ted
create
Hessen is
an
already on it, the
immigration
immigration
system
reporter. Many of
that
the
protects
so-called
the
caravan
lives and
migrants who
jobs
recently arrived in
of
northern
our
Mexico intend to
citizens.
seek asylum
This
lawfully in the
includes
U.S.,
our
according to media
obligation
reports. A
and the
separate
millions
caravan
of
that provoked
immigrants
Trump's
living
ire
here
in the run-up
today
to November's
who
midterm
followed the
elections did
rules
clash with
and
Mexican
respected
authorities
our
when crossing
laws.
into that country from Guatemala,
Legal
but much of its
immigrants
travel was
enrich our nation and strengthen our society in countless ways.
Why do they keep showing her? Who is she?
I want people to come into our country in the largest numbers ever.
lots of talk about the fact that the
But they
First Step
have to
Act
come
is a
in
part of
legally.
more legislative intentions and another package to come for 2019 having to do with reform of the justice or the criminal justice system. As you can imagine, it's the most popular thing, one of the most popular
Tonight,
things that
I'm
Trump has
asking
ever
you to defend
pushed.
our very dangerous southern border out of love and devotion to our fellow citizens and to our country. No issue better illustrates the divide between America's working class and America's political class than
Can we just not have different
immigration.
classes?
Wealthy
Yeah.
politicians and donors push for open
And it's
borders
we have
while
talked about this ad
living their
nauseum on
lives
our show,
behind walls and
and
This divide
gates
is
and
too
guards.
great.
Meanwhile, working class Americans are left to pay the price for
Ill-
mass illegal immigration.
immigration is down, and it's
Reduced jobs,
down the lowest
lower
in 26
wages,
years.
overburdened schools, hospitals that are so crowded you can't get in, increased
I
crime.
just can't figure out if
and a
that's
depleted
Gillibrand or
social
not that they keep
safety net.
flashing to.
Tolerance for illegal
Why would she be
immigration
standing up for that stuff?
is not compassionate. It is actually very cruel. One in 3 women is sexually assaulted on the long journey north. Smugglers use migrant children as human pawns to exploit our laws and gain access to our country. Human traffickers and sex traffickers take advantage of the wide open areas between our ports of entry to smuggle
I
thousands
feel like there are
of
so
young
many
girls and
euphemisms
women
right now that I can't even take
Oh,
this
I can't.
seriously. I just
And
can't
rage
handle it
at
right
the
now.
twisted.
I'm
prostitution
trying not
and
to,
modern
but I
day
feel like there's
slavery.
so many word choices here that are
Tens
so
of
deliberate.
thousands of innocent
Oh, I
Americans
am
are
so angry
killed by lethal
Oh, it's so
drugs
fucking
that cross
twisted.
our border
Are you
Because
breaking
they're
the
flood
stuff
into
that
our cities,
works? Oh, my
including meth, heroin, cocaine, and fentanyl.
oh Jesus
The
Christ! There he's
savage
talking about
gang
MS-13. Oh my
MS-13
God!
now operates in at least 20 different American states, and they almost all come through our southern border.
What?
Just yesterday, an MS-13 gang member was taken into custody for a fatal shooting on a subway platform in New York City. We are removing these gang
You're removing
members
family
by
members by the thousands.
But
You're
until
removing
we
mothers
secure
and
our
children
border,
by ICE. You're
they're
not
going
doing
to
anything to
keep
gang members because
streaming right
they are
back in.
dangerous, and your ICE members won't go after.
Year after year,
I mean,
thousands
Typical.
can
of
we talk
Americans
about
are
the number of
murdered
women that are sexually
by
assaulted just in the
criminal,
U.S. already?
illegal aliens.
Right?
Like-
and can't get
I've
help?
gotten to know many
Can we talk about
wonderful
the number
angel
of women in
moms
the
and
U.S.
dads and families.
that are sexually
No one should ever have
that
to
trafficked
suffer
here in the states
the
or are sent
horrible
abroad?
heartache
That is more
that
than
they have
them
had
coming and
to
bringing women.
endure. Here tonight
Oh no!
is Deborah Bissell. Just 3 weeks ago, Deborah's parents, Gerald and Sharon, were burglarized and shot to death in their Reno,
Thanks, Ted
Nevada
Hessen.
home
He's on point right
by
now.
an illegal
Mexican
alien.
cartels typically transport drugs
They were
over
in
the border
their
through ports of
80s,
entry, according to
and
2015
they're survived
threat
by
assessment
4
by the Drug
children,
Enforcement
11
Administration.
grandchildren, and
A
20
similar DEA report last year found that
great-grandchildren.
almost all heroin seized by border
Also here
officials came through
tonight
ports of entry.
are Gerald
The
and
DEA said high
Sharon's
purity
granddaughter,
fentanyl, a
Heather,
synthetic opioid, blah, 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 blah,
and
tends to come
great-granddaughter,
directly from
Madison.
China.
To Deborah, Heather, Madison, please stand. Few can understand your pain.
I am sorry that she
Thank you,
lost
and thank
family
you for
members.
being here. Thank you very much.
I am sorry with all of my soul that she lost her parents.
By the way, I heard about
know,
this because my mother
Here's an
lives in
interesting
Reno.
fact: is there have been more killings and brutalizings by border agents of people than there have by like all immigrants, let alone illegal immigrants that have caught. Yeah,
I will never forget.
and I saw an article about it. I was
And
like,
I
I
will
need to
fight
verify this, and
for
I
the
kept looking,
memory
and yeah,
of Gerald and Sharon, that it should never happen again. Not one more American life should be lost because our nation failed to control its
How about we
very
control the
dangerous
guns that
border.
are in this nation
In
that
the
causes
last
them
2
to be able
years,
to
our
do this
brave
shit?
ICE
I was gonna
officers
say there's a
made
reason that my family that lives in Reno, Nevada, all have weapons in their homes, and that's because everybody else has weapons in their homes.
including those charged or convicted of nearly 100,000 assaults, 30,000 sex
We all know
American
how
lives
let's talk about the time that
killings
I
or
was the target
murders.
of.
We are joined
Like,
tonight
what does that
by
tell
one
you?
of those law enforcement heroes, ICE Special Agent Elvin Hernandez. When Elvin,
First off, why you're politicizing that an ICE member?
We all know how much. Oh no, that's not ICE. That's Department of Homeland Security. Don't forget, I'm very familiar with the Department of Homeland Security Drug Enforcement Division.
Little too familiar.
I don't know. Story, we'll have to hear it another
he and his
time.
family legally immigrated to the United States from the Dominican Republic. At the age of 8, Elvin told his dad he wanted to become a special agent. Today, he leads investigations into the scourge of international sex trafficking. Elvin says that if I can make sure these young girls get their justice, I've really done my job. Thanks to his work and that of his incredible colleagues, more than 300 women and girls have been rescued from the horror
More than
of
300.
this terrible situation.
We've disrupted thousands of families,
1,500
tens of
sadistic
thousands of
traffickers
families.
have been put behind
And here's the thing.
bars.
He'd
What
start
about
doing
that
stuff-
already happening in the? Sorry.
That's what.
Okay.
No, what now are those cases from people in the U.S. doing this, or are these cases of people, illegal immigrants? That's my question, and there's not an answer for that because he didn't say that. He just said
Don't get me
300.
wrong. I want every single man, woman, and child to
of
be
law enforcement.
safe. Like that is the reason why you have government, so that you have an opportunity to come together and be safe and have your right to pursue your life and whatnot. But come on.
My administration has sent to Congress a common sense proposal to end the crisis on the southern border. It includes humanitarian assistance, more law enforcement, drug detection at our ports, closing loopholes that enable child smuggling, and plans for a new physical barrier or wall to secure the vast areas between our ports of entry. In the past, most of the people in this room voted for a wall, but the proper wall never got built. I will get it built.
What is that? I live in a, maybe it's because I live in like a border area, that I listen to this and I've driven through literally it's like, oh, okay, white chick, you exist,
This is
cool,
a
bye.
smart,
Like,
strategic,
what is a wall gonna do?
see-through steel barrier. Not
Nothing,
just a
because the
simple
wall that he's
concrete
proposed, the last
wall.
one I saw,
It will
they
be
showed how it was
deployed in the
easily
areas
broken
identified
and cut within
by
like
the
30
border
seconds
agents as having the
with
greatest
simple
It's not
tools.
only that. There's
And these
so
agents
many
will
more
tell
endemic
you
problems. It's
where
beyond just
walls go up,
a physical
illegal
wall.
crossings go way, way
There's
down.
a million points of data about how it doesn't work, it can't work, in different parts of the world, and here the land rights issues are ridiculous, the environmental issues. This is just not a viable solution. It's a very expensive,
San Diego used to
unviable
have the most
solution.
illegal border crossings
But that fear,
in our
fear,
country.
fear, and build the wall
In
chant
response, a
has
strong
just
security wall
masses and
was put
hammered.
in place.
It's sad
This
and
powerful
sickening to me.
barrier almost completely ended illegal crossings. The border city of El Paso, Texas, used to have extremely high rates of violent crime, one of the highest in the entire country and
No,
considered
No.
absolute
one of our
100%
nation's
bullshit. That's
most
just not
dangerous
right.
cities.
No.
That's
Now,
just not accurate. I
immediately
mean,
upon
you want to
its
talk
building,
about
with a powerful
Stockton, you want to
barrier
talk about places,
in
you know,
place,
Southern California, sure.
El Paso
But don't talk to me
is
about El
one of
Paso.
the safest cities in our country. Simply put, walls work and walls save
Holy
lives.
crap. The people in that room should all be better educated on this than to clap for that lie.
Look at that. There's like a sea of women wearing
So
white,
let's
not
work together,
clapping.
compromise, and reach a deal that will truly make America safe. As we work to defend our people's safety, we must also ensure our economic resurgence continues at a rapid pace.
Great,
No one
educate our
has
kids.
benefited more from
Make
a
schools
thriving
safe. If
economy
you want to worry
Yeah.
about
than
safety
women
and security,
who have filled
bring it to the schools.
58% of
Provide
the
services
newly
for mental
created
health and other
jobs
things that are
last
needed
year.
so that we can continue to have citizens that are educated and stable-minded, and they can progress forward and help with this economic boost that you want.
Wait, who are they clapping for? Oh, they're clapping for women.
Yes. But that's also because women have helped themselves. It's because of things like Emily's List. That's why we have so many women in Congress now. It's
Yeah.
not because of anything that men like him have
weren't
done. It's
supposed to
because
do
of all
that.
the things and the efforts that have been
Thank
going
you
on
very much.
Oh,
for
that's
the
a lot
last
of noise.
hardcore
That's
20
awesome.
years.
All Americans can be proud
I don't want to listen to this man take any credit for that.
that we have more women in the workforce than ever before.
Well, it's also because you have to have 2 incomes to survive in the country.
And yeah, and women, if they want to have children, they have to immediately go back to work. Unlike civilized countries like Germany or you know, other countries where they can spend 1 or 2 years with that
Don't
child.
sit yet.
Now,
You're
to be
like
fair, this probably came from his daughter,
And
which is fine. I
exactly
don't
one
actually have as many
century
issues with her as a lot of
after
people do.
Congress passed the constitutional amendment giving women the right to vote, we also have more women
that's
serving
what he
in
said.
Congress than
He
at
looked at
any
them and said
time
you weren't
before.
supposed to do that. What the actual fuck?
Well, he wanted
I mean,
to
just
make a
that
comment
action
about
in
it.
itself was.
Oh, and there's the Trump children.
Where's mine? Where's mine? Oh, there she is. So we worked really hard to get Cinema elected here in Arizona. The first female senator in Arizona, first bisexual woman, openly bisexual woman elected to Senate, I believe now.
Yep.
Not that that's why I voted for her, but
That's great. Very great. And congratulations. That's great. As part of our
oh, you did
commitment
such a
to
good
improving
job.
opportunity
That's
for women
nice.
everywhere,
Is that really what that just was right now?
we are launching the first ever government-wide initiative focused on economic empowerment for
Look
women.
at you all dressed up and doing
developing countries.
politics. That's really what that
To
sounded
build on,
like.
That was probably the most condescending thing I've heard, you know.
To build on our incredible economic success, one priority is paramount: reversing decades of calamitous trade policies.
Oh Lord, here we go with trade
We are now
policies.
making it clear to China that after years of targeting our industries and stealing our intellectual property, the theft of American jobs and wealth has come to an end. Therefore, we recently imposed tariffs on $250 billion of Chinese goods, and now our Treasury is receiving billions and billions of dollars. But I don't blame China for taking advantage of us. I blame our leaders and representatives for allowing this travesty to happen. I have great respect for President Xi, and we are now working on a new trade deal with China. But it must include real
there's Linda McMahon.
structural change to end unfair trade practices, reduce our chronic trade deficit, and protect American jobs.
I don't know how much more she can take. She's looking rough.
Another historic trade blunder was the catastrophe known as NAFTA.
No, NAFTA was stupid.
I have met the men and women of Michigan, Ohio, Pennsylvania, Indiana, New Hampshire, and many other states whose dreams were shattered by the signing of NAFTA. For years, politicians promised them they would renegotiate for a better deal, but no one ever tried until now.
Not true. Actually wrong.
The U.S.
Not
Mexico-Canada
Just-
agreement,
just
the
not
USMCA,
accurate.
will replace NAFTA and deliver for American workers like they haven't had delivered to for a long time. I hope you can pass the USMCA into law so that we can bring back
And this
our
one's not that different.
manufacturing jobs in even greater numbers. Expand
No, but I
American
think it actually
agriculture,
weakens some
protect
protections, if
intellectual
I think about it,
and ensure that
so that
more
American
cars
factories
are
can
proudly
do bad
stamped
things,
with
but
our
it's okay.
four
Versus,
beautiful
going.
words.
If I remember correctly,
Made
it
in the
weakens.
USA.
So
Yeah,
the
you're-
money pouring into our treasury from the tariffs is from American companies, by the way.
Well, not just
China.
that. Yeah, it's most economists highlight that extra revenue is paid for by American companies importing Chinese
Tonight,
products
I am
into the United
also
States.
asking you
Plus,
to
China
pass
has
the
retaliated
United
with tariffs of
States
110 billion worth
Reciprocal
of U.S.
Trade
goods
Act,
such as pork and whiskey.
so that if another country places an unfair tariff on an American product, we can charge them the exact same tariff on the exact same product that they sell to us.
Which is a null. Can you math, bro? That's
Both parties should be able to unite for a great rebuilding of America's crumbling infrastructure.
Oh yeah,
not
we
fair
definitely.
trade. Fucking fair trade. People learn how to negotiate. Not it's all bad deal, good deal. I'm trying to take advantage of you, and that's I think the danger of this
I know that
business
Congress
and
is eager to
president
pass
same
an
thing.
infrastructure bill.
Bullshit. That's not
And
how
I
it
am
works.
eager to work with you on legislation to deliver new and important infrastructure investment, including investments in the cutting-edge industries of the future.
Isn't those all
This is
private
not an
instead of
option.
it being government?
This is a necessity. The next major priority for me and for all of us should be to lower the cost of health care and prescription drugs and to protect patients with pre-existing conditions.
Isn't that called Medicare for all at that point? I mean, wouldn't that just solve the problem? Medicare for all? I'm just, free healthcare, free medicines.
Already as a result of my administration's efforts in 2018, drug prices experienced their single largest decline in 46 years.
That's why it costs $1,000 to buy an EpiPen.
I was gonna say, and how much? Is he just gonna take credit for
We
everything?
must do more. It's unacceptable that
Well, yeah.
Americans pay vastly
Kinda
more
what he
than
does.
people in other countries for the
I know.
exact same
That's
drugs,
why I don't listen to his
often
crap
made
most of the time.
in
It's
the
hard.
exact same place. This is wrong. This is unfair, And together,
Some
will
of that
stop it.
decline had to do with the
We'll
fact that we
stop
had
it
a shady
fast.
douchebag that finally got put to fucking task for drug price. Like, but how long did people let that, that problem go on? You know,
I'm
It's just
asking Congress to pass legislation that finally takes on the problem of global freeloading and delivers fairness and price transparency for American patients, finally.
What is freeloading?
We should also
hold on.
require drug companies, insurance companies, and hospitals to disclose real prices to foster
Drug prices haven't
competition
dropped. Price
and bring
increases have
costs
slowed.
way down.
And it's hard to say what's driving that. Price hikes also leveled in 2007, 2012, and those proved temporary.
No force in history has done more to advance the human condition than American freedom. In recent years,
We've destabilized the entire Middle East. That's what we've done in the recent.
In recent years, we have made remarkable progress in the fight against HIV and AIDS. Scientific breakthroughs have brought a once distant dream within reach. My budget will ask Democrats and Republicans to make the needed commitment to eliminate the HIV epidemic in the United States within 10 years. We have made incredible strides, incredible.
I hope that's true. I really do.
Together,
I
we
mean,
will
I
defeat
hope so.
AIDS in America and beyond.
Well, there's a handful of things here that surprisingly Democrats have backed.
Tonight,
so.
I am also asking you to join me in another fight that all Americans can get behind, the fight against childhood cancer.
What?
Childhood cancer.
Is he implying someone's for it? I think I missed something.
Yeah, I'm for
Joining
childhood cancer. I
Melania
think all kids
in
should
the
get
I'm
gallery
cancer.
this evening
I'm totes cool
is
with
a
kids
very
not getting
brave
cancer.
10-year-old girl, Grace Eline.
This is literally just like,
Every
let me
birthday.
parade. Like, this is the weird. This is. Am I?
No, you're right. This is like parading the sick.
I don't remember State of the Unions being like this. Now, to be fair, I have generally avoided his because I just can't stomach it. So I just don't watch them. I just read them later. But
Hi, Grace.
I mean, yeah, you have a couple mention somebody honorary,
Every
but that's
birthday
not what this is about. It's
since she
not
was
the.
4,
I guess maybe it is.
Grace
It's the
asked her
parade.
friends
The
to
parade.
donate to St. Jude's Children's Hospital.
Lots of
She did not
presidents,
know
several
that one
presidents
day
have
she
used,
might
like people like that.
be a
They
patient
invite
herself.
because they only get a handful of
That's what
invites and
happened.
they use them in their
A
narrative.
couple.
Last year, Grace
A
was
couple.
diagnosed
This
with
is
brain
like
cancer.
a lot.
Particularly,
Immediately, she began radiation treatment. At the same time, she rallied
well, they're
the
very
community and raised more than $40,000
heartstringy. They're
for the
not.
fight against cancer.
It's so that we can't completely hate him in his speech.
Well, yeah, because he's talking about all of this over here, and this is my agenda, but let me parade these people over here and make you feel sad for what happened to them, or feel good about.
And by the way, I want to say for
When
childhood
Grace
cancer, for those people who
completed
think I'm
treatment
not.
last fall, her doctors and nurses cheered. They loved her. They still love her. With tears in their eyes, as she hung
I mean, it'd be
up
kind of shitty if they
a
didn't love her
poster
anymore.
that
That'd be
read,
weird.
Last
It would be
day
totally
yeah.
of
weird.
chemo.
and she's just happy, and I'm glad for her.
She's
You know,
very
don't get
cute.
me. She is.
I just want to know
Thank you
how
very
we're going to
much,
work
Bruce.
on
You
this
are a great
HIV/AIDS
inspiration to
situation when you
everyone in
can't
this
even
room.
talk
Thank
about
you very
condoms
much.
in schools. Just saying.
Yeah.
Many childhood
Eliminate
cancers
I was.
that.
have not
I didn't want to
seen new
bring that up while we
therapies
were
in
talking about
decades.
childhood cancer, but
My
apparently
budget will
we're
ask
going to be on this for
Congress
longer than
for
I thought.
$500 million over the next 10 years to fund this critical
Well, they're
life-saving
trying to
research.
ban
help
fetal
support
tissue
working
research, which
parents,
we need for the
The
vaccine.
time has come
Yeah,
to
are we going to
pass
actually,
school
does this mean
choice
that we're going to
for
let them
America's
actually
children.
look at stem cells that aren't even controversial and actually allow the research that needs to happen? Oh, is that what we're going to do? Cool.
That would be too much science.
I am also proud to be the first
No,
president
it's going to be thoughts and
to
prayers.
include in my budget a plan for nationwide
Now, these
paid
things, I
family
want
leave,
those things to happen.
so that every new
There are
parent
Absolutely.
has
things
the
happening.
chance to bond
Maybe
But that's
that will be
exactly
one.
with
it.
their newborn child.
Really? That would be something.
That'd be Ivanka. That'd be
There
Ivanka's
could
push.
be no greater contrast to the beautiful image
Absolutely true.
of a mother holding her infant child.
I
than
have
the
to say,
chilling displays our
everybody gets
nation
mad at me
saw
for this,
in
but
recent
she's done a lot of
days.
good work in her time, and she spent a lot of money and a lot of
Lawmakers in
time and a
New
lot of
York
effort
cheered with delight
on some things that I am
upon the
very, very behind.
passage of legislation that would allow a baby to be ripped from the mother's womb moments from birth. These are living, feeling, beautiful babies who will never get the chance to share their love and their dreams with the world. And then we had the case
It's
of
already
Governor of
illegal.
Virginia, where he stated he would execute a baby after
I
birth
can't believe you went right from how
to
crappy our
defend the
FMLA is and
dignity
fixing it to this
of
worse
every
shit.
person. I am asking Congress to pass legislation
Oh, really? You have to focus
the
on that guy?
late-term abortion of children who can feel pain in the mother's womb.
Okay,
I'm going to let you two handle this one.
I just want to understand why we have to have this conversation. You're like, oh, paid family leave. That's something that's very important. Also, something that's illegal. Let's talk about that like it's happening, on every freaking clinic in the nation all the
Right.
time.
It's a play on fears. It's and it's that further dividing. He was going to talk about unity, and then he does this. Let's talk about something that's already illegal.
Ripped from their womb moments before birth. It's called a fucking C-section.
But no, yeah, exactly.
It's not. That's not a fucking abortion, you asshole. Like, come
all children, born and unborn, are
And
made.
then, you can't do that.
the
Oh,
holy
let the
image
mother
of
die.
God.
Then we don't have to pay the family medical leave. Is that your idea? You
part
fucktard.
of my agenda
So,
is to protect American security. Over the last 2 years, we have begun to fully rebuild the United States military with $700 billion last year and $716 billion
$700 billion.
this year. We are also getting other
my
nations
God.
to pay their fair share. Finally.
Oh, is he on that again?
war machines.
That's,
Well, he didn't get his parade, so.
The military didn't want to do it.
For years, the United States
So apparently
was
he's going
being
after the
treated very
evangelical
unfairly
voters and moderates.
friends
It's
of
just, this is what this
ours.
whole abortion bullshit is about. I mean,
members of NATO. But now we have secured, over the last couple of years, more than $100 billion of increase in defense spending from our NATO allies. They said it couldn't be done.
That's because they're afraid of Russia because you're in their pocket. Oh, I'm sorry.
I mean, to be fair, he brought up the Virginia
Military
governor, and
buildup,
like,
the
yeah,
United States is
he's in a
developing
rough spot over
state-of-the-art
that shit.
missile
But that's
defense
not
system.
what this is about. That's
Under my
not.
administration, we will never apologize for advancing America's interests. For example, decades ago, the
Oh,
United
Star
States
Wars
entered
again.
into a treaty with
I
Russia
seriously
in
fucking
which
feel
we
like
agreed to
we've
limit
got.
and reduce our missile capability.
I am so triggered. I'm
Well,
sorry.
we
I really
followed the
literally am.
agreement and the
Like, this is
rules
why I can't
to the
fucking
letter.
even play Fallout. Because
Russia
I grew up with this
repeatedly
nuclear threat. And now
violated
we're
its terms.
abandoning those treaties
Been
and
going on
talking
for many
about a
years.
missile defense
That is
system
why
like
I
Reagan.
announced that the United States
I did not want my
is
kids to have
officially
to.
withdrawing from the Intermediate Range Nuclear Forces Treaty.
Just wonder when
or
someone was gonna push the
INF
button.
Treaty. Perhaps
Wait. Where we're from the
Whoa.
oh,
Whoa.
who is clapping for that? Getting out of the. Why do we need more
We really
nuclear
have no
weapons?
choice.
Oh my God!
So he can build his
Perhaps we
fucking
can-
hotel in Moscow.
negotiate a different agreement, adding China and others. Or perhaps we can't, in which case we will outspend and out-innovate all others by far.
Oh, we're starting a new Cold War. That's absolutely wonderful.
I don't even
Exactly.
want to talk about the international ramifications of these conversations.
As part of a bold new diplomacy, we continue our historic push for peace on the Korean
Putin's already
Peninsula.
announced that the
Our
list of stuff they're
hostages
into
have come
developing
home.
again now because they're suspending
Nuclear
that treaty.
testing has stopped, and there has not been a missile launch in more than 15 months.
We are seriously
If I
going to end
had
up in a
not been
fucking
elected
arms race
president
because of
of
this
the
asshole.
United States, we would
Yeah.
right now, in my opinion, be in a major war with North Korea.
Oh, you've got to be. It's North Korea. They're fucking starving to death. I
Much
dropped my
work
lighter.
remains to
I'm
be
so
done,
upset.
but my relationship with Kim Jong-un is a good one. Chairman Kim and I will meet
Little Rocket Man.
again on
We know you love
February
him.
27th and 28th in Vietnam.
Oh my God,
Okay.
when is it over? I'm starting to get really upset.
2 weeks ago, the United States officially recognized the legitimate government of Venezuela and its new president, Juan Guaido.
Oh, there's a. He's a dictator. That's great.
We stand with the Venezuelan people in their noble quest for freedom, and we condemn the brutality of the Maduro regime, whose socialist policies have turned that nation from being the wealthiest in South America into a state of abject poverty and despair.
Whoa, bro, have you actually studied Latin American history?
Here in the United States, we are alarmed by the new calls to adopt socialism in our country.
They're going to show her right now, aren't they?
America was founded on
Yes,
liberty and
socialism.
independence, and not government coercion, domination, and control. We
That's
are
not what
born
socialism
free,
is.
and we will stay free.
You mean liberty and independence like socialism?
Liberty and independence, not government coercion, domination, and control.
I mean,
And you know who they show? They show Bernie Sanders. Oh man, really?
Tonight,
how about like
we
John
renew
Stuart
our
Mill? Is
resolve
something wrong with that? You got a problem with that?
America
I'm okay
will
with it.
never be a socialist country.
He understands that there's a difference between tyrannical fascists and
No, he's a fascist. Remember that. So you know.
I mean,
One of
Really?
the most
This is that Red
complex
Scare
set
shit.
of challenges we face
This is
and have for many years
such a repeat.
is in the Middle East. Our approach is based on principle realism,
Yes, socialism did
not
for this country.
discredited
The New
theories
Deal,
that
it
have
saved
failed
it.
for decades to yield progress. For this reason, my administration recognized the true capital of Israel and proudly opened the American embassy.
Here we
in
go.
Jerusalem.
Nicolas Maduro's opponents say his regime failed because it runs more like a corrupt narco mafia state. Exactly. It has
Yes.
nothing to do with social.
Oh, look, they're showing Jared while they're talking about Jerusalem as the real capital of Israel.
Our brave
Oh,
troops
let's just blow up the Middle East
have
while
now
we're at
been
it.
fighting in the Middle East for almost 19 years. In Afghanistan and Iraq,
His tactics are so
nearly
horrible.
7,000 American heroes have given their lives. More than 52,000 Americans have been badly wounded. We
Cut
have
to the guy
spent
that's got an
more
injury
than
that we can
$7
see
trillion
on TV. Cut to him, please.
in
Thanks.
fighting wars in the Middle East. As a candidate for president, I loudly pledged a new approach. Great nations do not fight endless wars.
I'm glad that somebody said it. Afghanistan is not in the Middle East.
Right?
It's in Asia, and we should not be having. You should never fight a
When I
land
took
war
office,
in
ISIS
Asia.
controlled more than 20,000 square miles in Iraq and Syria just 2 years ago. Today, we have liberated virtually all of the territory from the grip
We haven't done
of
anything.
these bloodthirsty monsters. Now,
It was
as we
the
work with our
Iraqi
allies
troops that.
to destroy the
we had,
remnants
we had
of
support
ISIS,
troops there.
it
I
is time
know
to
we
give
did,
our
but they
brave
were
warriors
support.
in
It
Syria
was
Did a bunch of
mostly the
bombing too
a warm welcome
of
home.
strategic targets, but
I have
Obama was
also
doing that.
accelerated our
as well.
negotiations to reach, if possible, a political settlement in Afghanistan.
Which is still not in the Middle
opposing
East.
side.
Just if you were just joining.
Yeah, in case you forgot, still not the Middle East.
Negotiated. Our troops have fought with unmatched valor, and thanks to their bravery, we are now able to pursue a possible political solution.
And I'm sorry, I get
this
real
long
heated when it comes to South
bloody
America.
conflict.
I like South American. I was an international politics major, specifically Eastern Europe and South America were my focuses, my foci. So I get really upset when people start
Afghanistan,
throwing stuff around like
my
they understand.
administration is holding constructive talks with a number of Afghan groups, including the Taliban. As we make progress in these negotiations, we will be able to reduce our troops'
They're
presence
negotiating with the
and
Taliban. He
focus
just
on
said that.
counter-
Fuck it. Bernie's a
terrorism, and we
socialist, so
will
we should
indeed
string him
focus
out, but
on
let's go have negotiations with the Taliban.
We do not know
Totes.
whether
It all makes sense now.
we'll achieve an agreement, but we do know that after 2 decades of war,
You should
I thought
talk
we-
to everybody
Hour
and
has
try to
come
fix this shit,
to
but
at least
they
try for
wanted
peace.
to hang
And the other
Obama
side
for
would
that.
like to
Literally,
do
there were
the same
the most
thing.
ugliest
It's time.
ads, right? About negotiating with terrorists just for meeting with foreign leaders. And now he's gonna actually negotiate with the
Above
Taliban.
all, friend and foe alike must never doubt this nation's power and will to
Hypocrites.
defend our people. 18 years ago, violent terrorists attacked the USS Cole, and last month, American forces killed one of the leaders of that attack.
Haven't we killed multiple leaders?
Now we're back to the drum beating. Fear, fear, fear. and then there should be maybe one more
We are
policy
honored
who's trying
to be
justify
joined
the fact.
tonight by
There's a
Tom
pattern here.
Wibberley,
Imagine that.
whose son,
Wait.
Navy seaman Craig Wibberley, was one of the 17
Oh, there you go.
sailors
There's the feel good for the
we
put some people
tragically
in it.
lost. Tom, we vow to always remember the heroes of the USS Cole. Thank you, Tom.
Oh, that's a short one.
Apparently, he's not as attractive as the daughters and the granddaughters, and then the adorable child that is a survivor. And
My administration has acted decisively to confront the world's leading state sponsor of terror, the radical regime in Iran.
The NRA?
It is a radical regime.
Right.
They do bad things. To ensure
they
this
do bad things.
Bad,
dictatorship never acquires nuclear weapons, I withdrew the United States
Oh, no.
from the disastrous Iran nuclear deal.
Oh, that was so stupid of us to do it in the first place. Now he's being proud of it. Oh, God.
I
And last fall, we put in place the toughest sanctions ever imposed by us on a country. We will not avert our
To
eyes
Russia?
we
from
can't
a
get
regime
inspectors in
that
there
chants
anymore,
death
or anything that
to
was keeping them
America
from further
and
developing.
threatens
But
genocide
thanks.
against the Jewish people. We must never ignore the vile poison of anti-Semitism or those who spread its venomous creed. With one voice, we must confront this hatred anywhere
Can we
and
confront
everywhere it
hatred
occurs.
against any people?
Just
Like
months ago,
all of them.
11 Jewish
Yeah, how
Americans
about all of them?
were viciously murdered in an anti-Semitic attack on the Tree of Life Synagogue in Pittsburgh. SWAT officer Timothy Matson raced into the gunfire and was shot 7 times chasing down the killer. And he was very successful.
Who was a white supremacist?
Timothy has just had his 12th surgery, and he's going in for many more. But he made the trip to be here with us tonight. Officer Matson, please.
That is it. But yeah, and don't get me wrong, but you can't link Iran with what happened in Pittsburgh, and that's what he's doing. Oh my God.
Yeah, I mean, what happened in Pittsburgh seems a lot more directly related to the hate speech here being empowered.
Mm-hmm.
Duh. I mean, he quotes right-wing extremist hate groups on his Twitter, and then this happens, and he links it to why we have
Iran.
to go to war in Iran.
Yep.
Thank you. We are forever grateful. Thank you very much. Tonight, we are also joined
That's
by
some cartwheels.
Pittsburgh survivor Judah Samet. He arrived at the synagogue as the
How many times they make him practice that name, apparently, because he was
Right?
nervous to say
The
it.
big
last
pause.
fall. More than 7 decades ago, he narrowly survived the Nazi concentration camps. Today is Judah's 81st birthday.
And he's stuck listening to you speak. Oh, that's a wonderful birthday present. Look at that smug face. Oh my God.
hate when he makes that face.
He's like a child that's proud of his potty. Give him a gold star. I'm sorry, it just that's the only thing I can think of. Oh, that's nice. That makes me happy. Yeah, that's a much better 81st birthday than being.
Yeah.
That's nice.
That was pretty beautiful. What was that?
He said thank you.
I think he said
that
thank
for
you to
me,
everybody.
Judah says he can still remember the exact moment nearly 75 years ago, after 10 months in a concentration camp, when he and his family were put on a train and told they were going to another camp. Suddenly, the train screeched to a very strong halt. A soldier appeared. Judah's family braced for the absolute worst. Then his father cried out with joy, "It's the Americans, it's the Americans."
And I'm grateful.
Thank you. A second Holocaust survivor who is here tonight, Joshua Kaufman, was a prisoner at Dachau. He remembers watching through a hole in the wall of a cattle car as American soldiers rolled in with tanks. To me, Joshua recalls, the American soldiers were proof that God exists, and they came down from the sky. They came down from heaven. I began this evening by honoring 3 soldiers who fought on D-Day in the Second World War. One of them was Herman Zaitchik. But there is more to Herman's story. A year after he stormed the beaches of Normandy, Herman was one of the American soldiers who helped liberate Dachau.
All right, I'm going to take this moment to just say it has been a pleasure being here, but I have some obligations that are going to require me to vacate and not be online here. So I'm going to say toodles. And if you... Absolutely. Thanks for having me on the
Crossover.
Hearsay.
It's a crossover.
Geek Grills crossover. Also, if you want to argue with me, you can go to @TheJen says on Twitter. Just go yell at me there. Bye, guys.
Bye, Jen.
See ya.
In the gallery tonight, seated side by side, here in the home of American freedom. Herman and Joshua, your presence this evening is very much appreciated. Thank you very much. Thank you. When American soldiers set out beneath the dark skies over the English Channel in the early hours of D-Day 1944, they were just young men of 18 and 19 hurtling on fragile landing craft toward the most momentous battle in the history of war. They did not know if they would survive the hour. They did not know if they would grow old, but they knew that America had to prevail. Their cause was this nation and generations yet unborn. Why did they do it? They did it for America. They did it for us. Everything that has come since our triumph over communism, our giant leaps of science and discovery, our unrivaled progress towards equality and justice, all of it is possible thanks to the blood and tears and courage and vision of the Americans who came before. Think of this Capitol. Think of this very chamber where lawmakers before you voted to end slavery, to build the railroads and the highways, and defeat fascism, to secure civil rights, and to face down evil empires. Here tonight, we have legislators from across this magnificent republic. You have come from the rocky shores of Maine and the volcanic peaks of Hawaii, from the snowy woods of Wisconsin and the red deserts of Arizona, from the green farms of Kentucky and the golden beaches of California. Together, we represent the most extraordinary nation in all of history. What will we do with this moment? How will we be remembered? I ask the men and women of this Congress, look at the opportunities before us. Our most thrilling achievements are still ahead. Our most exciting journeys still await. Our biggest victories are still to come. We have not yet begun to dream. We must choose whether we are defined by our differences or whether we dare to transcend them. We must choose whether we squander our great inheritance or whether we proudly declare that we are Americans. We do the incredible. We defy the impossible. We conquer the unknown. This is the time to reignite the American imagination. This is the time to search for the tallest summit and set our sights on the brightest star. This is the time to rekindle the bonds of love and loyalty and memory that link us together as citizens, as
I think
neighbors,
it's safe to say he's wrapping
as
up.
patriots.
Yeah, it's safe to say that.
So he didn't
This is
announce a
our
state of
future,
emergency. There's
our
that.
fate, and our choice to make.
Um,
I am asking you to choose greatness.
So
No matter the
let's close this
trials
out.
we
So
face,
okay.
Uh,
let me
no
get
matter
rid
the
of this
challenges
shit
to
right
come,
here.
we must
let
go
me
forward
close that out
together.
on my end.
We must keep
So
America
overall,
first
he
in our hearts.
basically lied a lot,
We must keep freedom
and
alive
there were some good
in our
things. Don't get me wrong. I would love for him to do some of those things, but how he conflated certain things, yeah, that we're going on our podcast. We will definitely have to break that down and everything. So, but I want to thank you for inviting me onto your and Jen's podcast tonight to watch this.
Yeah. And I'm sorry my participation was a little disjointed, but I was having technical stuff. Did make sure it sounded okay in the stream, so the podcast will sound okay. But in my ears, you don't even want to know what I could hear. It was awful. For our listeners, I will go ahead and have some links in the stream, including to the Politico.com interactives, which is really a fantastic way to. It's got the entire transcript of the State of the Union, as well as expert correspondence, comments, that were being written during it. So thanks again for joining me, Barney. Everyone, please feel free to chime in by emailing us at geekgrills@gmail.com or to Barney and I at heresyandhearsay@gmail.com. Give me a ring at 508-474-5577. You can also tweet us at Geek Grills or at Heresy and Hearsay. Remember, you can always come watch us record live the Geek Grills at twitch.tv/Geek Grills on Tuesday evenings. The next one will be February 12th at 5:30 p.m. Barney, when's the next Heresy and Hearsay?
We are going to Thursday. We'll try to do Thursday. We'll
Thursday
have to talk about
afternoon?
it.
Keep
Yeah,
an eye
Thursday
on our
after.
Twitter and our Facebook pages to get the update on that scheduling exactly. So anyway, leave us reviews on iTunes. We appreciate that. You can find me at 9of12 on Twitter and Twitch. Where can people find you?
You can find me at Seth Roth II on Twitter, and you can follow me, and you can also find us on Facebook, Twitter, iTunes, YouTube, all of that. You'll
And a
find
website.
our website for Heresy and Hearsay. So, and also Patreon.
And our our host from Geek Grills that was at Disney and unable to join us tonight, Linda, can be found on Twitch as True Noob. It's TRUN00B. Thanks for listening, everyone. Good game.
Good game.
And bless your heart.